or maybe he's legal. Just go.
Did you talk to Sharma after 12:40?
So
that's not. This is for the. I'm just a messenger here. That's behind the scenes stuff.
I'm just a messenger too. Here it is, right here. Look at the fucking messenger.
You should say that this morning. And still, they can find the side stuff. Side stuff. It is. You're right. Exactly, because you just took the twins hat in the Christmas time. Maybe. I don't know. They're not picking anybody up right now. Dude, I don't know. Nobody's picking anybody up.
I don't know.
They're all getting rid of big teams. But like, it's not like we're pick up somebody from like the Cubs.
Squeaky.
Cool. All right. We're going to get the CT underway. Does everyone have a beverage of their choice in hand? Ready to roll? There you go. Blankenberg, for those who do not know me, I'm going to teach them this iPad 4-flight reader tricks. So I got all geared up here on the screen. So you're encouraged to follow along if you want to. Some of this may be repetitive for those that attended the one back in May. But I made some new improvements. And also, this is really good for people that just got their iPads. I didn't know much about 4-flight, and I still don't know too much in flying for 2.5 years with it. But we'll just roll with it. First thing I want to do, though, is talk about GoodReader. So who's had it where they've highlighted a whole bunch of pubs, and then good old EFB comes out with a new sync and uses everything? Yes, I've lost it multiple times. So there's a way, there's a trick to do it, where if you go to the home page of GoodReader, you can create your own personalized pub folder. So you can see mine up here in the top left, latent pubs. In there, you can highlight and drag, and it will never be synced with the C5S pubs folder. So that's good if you want bookmarks or anything like that. Disclaimer though, anytime a new pub comes out, you want to double check the dates. It's not going to sync up very well. So anytime the new Vol 3 drops or whatever, just double check your gouge essentially. But it's really good. I keep all my mission planning in here, all my ocean. You can also create a folder for all your crew papers. So I keep every crew paper that I've ever gotten to talk about bad.tcc. Now I got an actual document of it. So good for ASAP too, for everything like that. So super helpful tool. Another thing you can do is for some people that flown with me, you can do so cold weather corrections. They're everywhere, right? Like contribution handbooks and stuff, and all these different Air Force pubs. So I create master guides like this, where let me turn that this way. You can actually take all these different documents and append them together into one master source document. So it's super helpful if you're say LTMs or going to different schools. The way to do that is you hit down here to append, and then now you can actually pick any sort of file you want to add to it. So say I want to add, I don't know, something really small, just AR. Now I'll just attach it to the end of the document that you selected. Super helpful. You can drag and drop to where you can move it to a certain spot in the folder itself. So any questions about that, or who hasn't seen this before? Yeah.
So when you're appending, is that just combining the whole documents? You got all the documents, not just the cold weather correction, pages that you want to do. You transfer the whole pub.
Yeah, it's like combining files in that, Adobe, where sandwiching the two together. Then you can go in and deselect and delete, and customize it that you want.
You can okay, so say you want only 2 pages of that document and do your master document.
Okay. Everyone know how to airdrop from GoodReader. So you say EFB, but let's say I wanted to give everyone that cold master guide. You slide down from the middle of your screen here, and then you can type in whatever document you want. So and they'll pop up cold weather corrections, and then top right, you can go to airdrop and send it to everybody. So
That's a good one. That's a good. I didn't.
If you want to send it,
Wow.
it's coming out.
yeah. Because for an example, if you want to send it to me, I'm cool with that.
Oh,
look, you share it with me.
Look at that. This is gouge. This is gouge.
That's right. I'm Sailor Jerry.
I'll accept that.
If you start building one of these folders and you're like, oh, I forgot how to append or delete, just come find me. We'll talk about GoodReader. All right, sweet. Now we're gonna go to 4-flight. Let's see here. So some basic stuff. One thing you can do if you like type in, if you're on, it has to be on Wi-Fi. So if you type in, let's say Travis, some cool info here. You can see the sunrise, sunset times. So it's good for bash considerations. Runways, you hit runway, you can actually see the components, so crosswinds, headwinds. Helps as well. This is all geo-reference. Stratus, so there's taxi. When you updated to 4.14, you have to go down to the settings and go to 4 flight and then the local network, or else your Stratus will not pick you up. Alec and I had that issue getting the bus over pick up. I'm like, why isn't Stratus finding us? Get off the Stratus engineers, but no, it was us. So, cool. NOTAMs, if you want to look at NOTAMs, these are all organized by date. So if you're on the road, like, oh, is this a new one? Then that helps as well. These are more basic stuff. Here is scratch pad. So I have them. I get my any sort of like random stuff for those that don't fly with the keyboard. Everyone's seen this before. Hopefully, the different layers that you can do. So you can do pyramids. So when you're flying, you can go over it. What are they talking about? You can actually add on it, and they'll talk about what it is. And TFRs as well. So I have TFRs enabled. And so if you pack and you brief, you can actually pick up your TFR. There it is, reveal. So it's active, altitudes, everything like that. Winds aloft up here. Because TC weather packages are awful. So if you pack it, you can actually get better information. So I just packed before. So it's everyone, if you want to follow along, files rust over. So I'm going to pack it real fast. Cool. Winds aloft, you can actually select the altitude, and I'll show you how to do that, and turbulence as well. Folders. So whenever I'll start with have whatever first that's whole
That's Everyone's just assuming.
Uh,
Exactly where
Yeah.
we go.
So you can see the barrier actually lives right here. So if you're like, all right, we got this like intersecting taxiway and then let's just go from big to small. That's a good way of doing this is, there's the airfield for the 3D views. Nice. You're not gonna pack in order to get 3D views. If you're trying to do some light, you do not pack. Any questions in 3D view?
How do you get, what was the button again?
Sure. So once you type in your airport in the airport search tab, 3D view at the top. Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
I know. Perfect timing. Now you don't need to crunch.
I've never tried this before, but when you're flying, view, and that's where you actually have like another slide for those that are just knows that that this guy all around.
The issue of having the stratus moves at all.
The stratus moves. Okay.
Like if the stratus falls off the window, that's just gonna flip upside down.
Ooh.
I'm gonna get a seat.
You have to, as long as it's stationary, you calibrate it. And there are two different techniques for height and calibrate. So you can either leave it line on line 0, so that way you know what the straight level is, whatever you're in the package. Or you can change up so that actually matches in the package line. So then it's when you set a line with the nose of your aircraft. So either way, so there are two different ways that you can use it, depending on if you're saying use it to fly down because you're in hit mode, you need an extra SA tool if you need something to land, or if you want to just use it, make sure you're not ripping off voice.
Another thing is like they're trying to like look a little bit more closely at all this weather predicts to Wi-Fi, which is what I'm looking at. It shows you the tops of these clouds in like the black letters right here. I don't know. It doesn't work in the air, unfortunately, because we're on the ground. If you're trying to figure out what's below it, though, you can go to settings. There's a lot of good things you can enable in here. One thing is down at the bottom is radar. Basically, able to adjust whether it's see-through it or not. I usually fly extended center lines. Into a visual into a field, you can see on your iPad if you're aiming for the right one, it'll ASO. That's kind of an issue. There's zero fields next to each other. I fly with distance rings as well. And breadcrumbs, want to make sure you delete it because it is kind of a FODO. Make sure it doesn't go anywhere else. And 4-color radar, I have that enabled as well. But you kind of play what works for you. So if go to where we're sitting at, of course, I lost the signal. If your little blue is pinging at you, that means it's actively receiving the source. So you go out to the jet and like it's just still showing your position, but it's not actively pinging that you're not going to do. So when you end up taking off, you're not going to get that feedback. Like a profile view. Let's see here.
You mind showing nav log real quick too?
Yeah, nav log. So when you guys go over your route brief, so let's make this the name of the job description of this. So you go to nav log and you can actually see the headings and the whole distance between the two. And this is why I think rather than, there's advantages to scanning in the map to look at your key bars, but it's also nice to be able to just scroll down and look at all the different points as well, your times, everything about it. It should track while you're flying too.
It's almost like CFP.
Yeah.
If you go to your flights that you had,
Yes.
so pick one, whatever it is. You see where it says Navlog up there? That'll actually give you everything you need for a CFP to be able to wind, fuel remaining at each point, time to each point.
This is on my last trip. Any question on that one?
It's all dependent on having an accurate
Yeah.
profile built too.
Speaking of the profile, don't you just have to log out and log back in and get the pre-built ones?
Correct.
Okay.
So yeah, get your login info from hubs, and they have all the preloaded tails now in the settings app, from what I understand. Some of them are in there, and I'll show you how to edit that when you actually do a self-plan file. You, of course, have to watch out for your performance. Yeah, be very reliable. Let's say we're like sitting over, that's a bad example, so I don't have Wi-Fi, but if you are able to type in, let's go with, it's good for locals. Let's say we're actually going to delay at Travis for an hour. And it's going to be our, and my understanding is when you file your ETL one, it'll actually have like a radar delay associated in that ETL one.
You can also set times and
Damn.
speeds.
Yeah.
So we'll keep the same example here. So for Travis, on the top, whatever airfield you're taking off the menu to, which is great for, so if you're actually doing the Apex one, you can actually look that way and see the transition on the first side. So, or going into Ellsworth, shoot the tracking or the iOS to shoot the whole vector.
You can do altitude and speed changes as well at different points. The same way that you look on 1801s and it has like N0405, which is going to be your true airspeed, and then F260. So you can do all your altitude and airspeed changes in there as well, wherever your position is going to be, whatever spot you change is going to be.
It looks like my internet drops on the these people on Zoom, so I have these slides that I'll attach to the link, but we'll just keep going. Maybe if you want to divert, there's an option to type into core flights or somewhere, but another simple way is where we were at, let's hit direct to, and it'll just, of course, can't find the position, but it'll just create a direct shot. Let's see. Talk about radar delay. You can customize what's all down here for like your cabin pressure, your track, your accuracy. Just press and hold on any one of them, and you can select which instrument the core flight is going to look at. So. That's really good for if you lose an FNS or if for some reason you do FNS failure, and I actually have some sort of track, a Stratus input. And this is an extra time to mask, because this is all built on the profile that the profile is selected. Center lines, track vector, talk about that. Excel file, we'll go over that real quick. So let's say, for those who want to follow along through this. So let's say we're taking a jet from Travis Westover. So we'll type in that. And now I want to figure out, okay, I got to figure out my route. So I have a procedure like I typed up before, if you get routes search bar, it'll actually give you the most common routes that have been filed for core flight, or just what whatever is being picked up by the database. And so this is already pre-selecting or recommending your flight level, the distance, and so you can actually select that one, and it'll select a route. You can update to flight level 310, and that's your routes in there. Did this recently. Biggest thing is right about hill. There's some restricted areas like that. But, this is a quick, easy way to get a whole route. And then you can add your procedures for takeoff and arrival. So let's say you want Stella one arrival there. Looks like we already did it. So now we actually want to file this. So make sure that your altitude's good. So we'll do one for the send it to flights. So kind of that box that everyone through the flights. Update your departure time. And from here, this is the first page that you walk through in order to proceed to file the flight plan. So I go through this. I always go through it line by line. So there's stuff that I just want to make sure it's accurate. So there's the aircraft. So now if you were to log back in, this is going to populate all the tails that they have on file. For this demonstration, I'm just going to keep this one, since this is the one that I had. And within here, you hit edit. You can actually walk through, make sure the tail number is good, the serial number. You can pull it off G2 if you have access, the type of plane, everything like that. A lot of different things in here, just but for purposes back, obviously you want to get your equipment codes in here, FA equipment and ICAO equipment. So I always keep it just copy per papers, like just copy whatever we have. Updates, emergency stuff if you have time. There's other options there. You can do that, but it's the same as the equipment codes and stuff. Let's just look at your aircraft. Performance profile. These are ones that you can build. You just recommend these. It's going to give you calculations and floor plans and things with actual filing itself. There's our route. Cruise altitude looks good. 4 souls on board. You'll update your payload. Let's see here. More landing weight. Now you can actually adjust your form types in 1801 since the 175 is now, I think, obsolete, right? It was like back in last month. So 1801, IFR, you can actually select, what is it, Z code, VFR to IFR for locals if you want. We had that work a couple weeks ago. Aircraft, boom, it's pulling that one, the 213. Call sign, airspeed. Let's see what else is good in here. You can place an alternate if you want. I think it's a little below. Remarks if you're delaying or doing an AR track. There's your alternate. You can do 2 alternates in there. More equipment, and very end, just make sure you get the right PIC in there. You can actually drop the base ops email in there if you're doing a local or sort of, whoever. If you're going Westover, they have an email that you can put in there. And you hit file, and it'll bring up your 1801, put it on the bottom, sign it, and it'll send it electronically to whatever email address you had, and it'll send it to agency and you'll pick it up for us. That was kind of a rush through, but it's kind of, as you walk through line by line, just grab the information you need. So, any questions on the file?
So it brings up that 1801 that you signed. Is there a way to bring that 1801 back up once you submit it or file it?
There is, after you hit file, when you go back into your, should be the flights. If you go into flights, there should be, actually it's right here. It'll say like X1, I've saved to computer. So there's a way to do it.
You can also do it. So hit proceed to file right now real quick for me. Hit that share button up there. Send it to, and it'll have a sound version.
I think very similar, yeah, to the one.
Yeah, it's not going to do it right now. But also, I have, just because if you're going to file directly, now your name's out there with a civilian agency, which we don't want to do, right? So that way they know if they want to violate me, they call base ops probably or wherever. So normally when we file 175s, right, you'd hand it to base ops, they'd file it for you. They wouldn't put your name in there because they're supposed to call them if they're gonna violate you or whatever or not, and they're not supposed to give your name, right? So with what he's doing here, you hit file, that's going straight to ATC. So now your name's on file. So if they want to violate you, even one update and give them the phone number too.
Lucky.
Exec desk.
Put strips number.
He's like, again?
Just a G whiz. Or you, like if you're doing a local, if you deselect file electronically, you hit file, it'll email it, and then whatever agency you've emailed it to will file for you. If it's a DoD entity, they will not include your name in said filing.
The other question. All right, just a couple other things real fast before the promotion ceremony. If you go down here, this document stack is actually really nice. And a lot of people import their airfield diagrams or whatever sort of stuff for their mission planning. One thing I recommend downloading is in 4Flight tab, this 4Flight mobile legends. So flying into Elmo this last time, we were trying to figure out what the icing layers meant going into Elmo. So if you actually open it up, you can find exactly what you're looking for. So let's see here. This is, icing legend. So we were trying to figure out like what this shade of blue means. Now you can actually see what it's saying, what feedback you're getting on the ground. It should update in flight as well for the status if you're doing returns. Let's see what else. Another thing I usually download is in the all the different oceanics. Talks about if you lose, are able to get HF failure, and it says contact a special number published in state AIP. We don't have that in Gouge here, so it is available in ForeFlight. Exactly what ones we're looking for. So find AIP, so now Canada AIP, and now you got here's Canada en route. And I actually think I have this time. Let's see here. Talks about this is a good question between CZQX and ZZQY. That's kind of the answer. I think is buried in there. There's another answer.
I'm so lonely up here.
Yes, so for Jefferson approaches, let's see if I remember how to get to it. I think this is where it's at. I think folks can help, maybe someone with more experience there's done this before too. It's through here. We have to actually log and download all the Jefferson products. I think it's through this tab, and you have to actually sign into a user account. Is that tracking with anybody?
Yeah, the same account for everyone.
Same account.
You don't need a pub, so there's
Yeah.
so that guy lives in the Air Force.
I'm looking for.
So then you should really get your tracks. Okay, Your control Greenland routes. There's information about where you can grab this, that telephone number that lives in the state AIP. So I just go through the in Eurocontrol, find all those different oceanic birds, and pick out the en route supplements, download it, and you can just type in the search bar for the telephone number, the SATCOM number you're trying to track down. Anyone else have documents that they'd like to download? The group. Cool. That's really all I had. I know it's kind of a lot of different topics kind of mashed together. Feel free to come by with any questions. I think it's a useful tool if the chat is working or even on the ground. If there's a transition. Hopefully this is helpful. Maybe bring Pete for some more senior guys in here. Anything else? But just trying to get help with all of this tools I've seen.
Yeah, that was changing.
That is
Just one other plug, for every iPad user account, so everyone, you can download a free ForeFlight and use that same account on your iPhone. For every iPad account, there's a free iPhone app as well. Account.
Yep.
So you're sitting there in the jet, and you pack, and they stopped 2 hours ago and you're delayed. You can pull up your iPhone real quick and pack again, the same flight. You can get updated letter 2 hours later.
You can log in as well on your computer, just on the internet, like if you're sitting at home, like mission planning or whatever, you can log your ForeFlight online account and do all that kind of same kind of research.
Have you guys seen how to add multiple alternates? So if you get, you file for 2 alternates, so ForeFlight only gives you the one alternate option, right?
If you file,
Yeah.
it should give you.
Well, so if you go to the, you start filing, it gives you the one option.
This alternate airport.
Okay, so there it gives you, but if you're looking for like NOTAMs or weather for multiple locations, that the on your roof at the end, that's all your destination. You can put as many air filters as you want. It's going to bring up all the information for all those air fields so you have it. Now, of course, it's going to jack with your, on the bottom left there, the distance. Some people use that distance as a cheat sheet or a cheater's guide to, verify that and insert the best distance. That's another tool you can use. Obviously, it's not the approved method for verifying your distance. Some other things you can do too with that nav log is if you get pre-routed by your Oceanic, that's an excellent source to your distances and everything else to verify that, because we have the ANC course distance tables, but maybe 1% of the time they actually have the load points in there that you want or need. So ForeFlight's an awesome tool to back yourself up with that.
Another thing I mentioned too about the customized points, let's say for some reason gray was our use like fictitious scenario, you can hit set as bullseye once you click under custom point, and it'll actually just keep that bullseye kind of the same size or proportionate when you zoom in and zoom out to where you can always see where he's at.
Has anyone not seen the Gouge Reader index page or know what I'm talking about? Can you bring that up later? So it should be, it's pretty easy to find. If you go, even just a master, if you want to just exit out of that and go to the master EFB file. And then it's right there, it's index. So if you click that, not that one, the one to the left.
Oh, yes.
So this one, like there's a couple of broken links in here, but if it's the cheater's way to find, like if your briefing checklist, the AMC or career inserts your pilot checklist with 3-3, it even has the cold weather tips correction quick link in there. So there's a lot of useful links in here to search around your cold or UV pretty quickly.
Post all the slides and like so you can find me. Just gonna show around here and you can talk
You millennials and your craziness.
And when I flew.
Can we request paper puffs, please?
Layton, help.
That's what I want to go back to.
I'm technology port.
Yeah, and I want to look through the paper puff and have someone with a pencil that stabs through it actually. Like, darn it! There's a hole in this one though. Yeah. Yeah, install it.